Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Star Flames. In this video, we are gonna continue with part 2 of Did Kim and Diddy stabbed Ye in the back. But I think that in part 1, you guys were able to understand that they actually did stab that man in the back because, just to give you all a summary, when Ye was, struggling with everything, Adidas trying to screw him over, when Ye was saying to us, Adidas was screwing me over, guys, this is what is going on. Ye wanted the people who mattered to him the most to understand where he was coming from, and he wanted them to believe him because he knows that he wasn't telling a lie. But Kim saw Ye as this big mischief maker, this big troublemaker. And, Diddy saw him as someone who doesn't listen and doesn't follow the advice of the big boys in Hollywood. And he's, complaining and he's venting about the big boys in Hollywood. And that is a no. So Diddy, instead of going out there to look for his friend, because if that's your real friend and your friend is depressed, would you be on the internet tweeting, telling your friend to get in touch with you? Or would you be out there in your car trying to find your friend? So Ye discovered that, you know what, you were just with me all this time because the hype, because, this Batman that has power and money. But the reality is you're not a friend, because if you're going to tell me to shut up, not talk about the things that is hurting me, not talking about the people that are stealing from me, you're not my friend, because you should be on my side. How is it that you ended up on their side when you are also a businessman in Hollywood? So when he said that, he's going to go DEFCON, many people were like, because he had that typo. And Candace Owens automatically said, no, that was a typo, because DEATHCON doesn't make any sense. It would be DEFCON. So when he said that, it was an outrage to many people. Many people in Hollywood did not understand his perspective. So Diddy thought he was being mischievous. Ice Cube, was like, how can you say this and, mentioning my name? But when Hollywood started closing their doors in Ice Cube face as it relates to his basketball team, Ice Cube started doing some digging. Who is doing the blackout? Then Ice Cube realized that Ye wasn't being mischievous. He was just being outspoken, and he was generalizing, because it wasn't every Jewish member. It was just the ones who control the doors of the NBA arena. And they were blocking him, Ice Cube, out. So Ice Cube realized that, shit, Kanye was telling the truth, but he shouldn't be generalizing. So he went to Ye, had a discussion, and all of that. So Ice Cube eyes started to open up as to what Ye has been saying about everything. Hollywood is realizing that Diddy was just playing these games with the big boys because he wanted something, and that something was about to come to light and come to the attention of many people. So what happened is that Diddy wanted to buy into this cannabis investment merger company. So Cresco Labs was to, merge with Columbia Care. Cresco Labs told Diddy that they were worth $2.7 billion, right? And the merge with Columbia Care would see the company even worth more than that. But when Diddy wanted the deal so bad, Diddy made a vow. He said, I'll be working with all the politicians. And when he said that, you would think that he's talking about on paper. Heck no. And he said that I would work with all the state laws, the regulatory body, and all of that, because the reality is you have to pass money around to speed things up and to speed up your license and all of that, right? So he was like, I'm willing to do the work, and I'm willing to build a relationship between these communities for the black community, and everything is going to go okay. But between Cresco Labs and Columbia Care, they did not get all the necessary legal paperwork done for the company to merge, because what Cresco Labs and Columbia Care was telling Diddy the company was worth, it wasn't worth that amount, because they failed to divest enough assets to get the regulators of the company that would sign off to say, okay, upon this merge, based on their stocks, assets, bonds, the company is in fact worth over $3 billion or over $2.7 billion. But the regulatory bodies could not sign off because the reality is Cresco Lab themselves, even though they said they were worth $2.7 billion, they were only worth $700 million. So the merger could not take place because they cannot get the paperwork to make what they're telling Diddy, their new investors that would have pushed them, in the cannabis company real good. They could not allow Diddy to invest the $185 million because the company wasn't worth what they're telling him it's worth, and they could not set up the cannabis stores because they're not worth that. So it wouldn't make any sense taking Diddy's money. So the investments that Diddy was planning to do with Cresco Labs and Columbia Care, it fell through the roof because as of today, Cresco Labs is only worth 700 million when initially they said it was 2.7 billion. So how did you shrink in just a few weeks, which means that it really wasn't worth that in the first place, because the two companies, they had a deadline date of June 30th of 2023, right? And they were saying that up to that period of June 30th, 2023, the company was worth over $2.7 billion, Cresco Lab in themselves. So how is it that we're in August and Cresco Lab is worth only 700 million today? Which means that they're saying that, the two companies didn't succeed in divesting enough assets, which means that they put out some false information to get investors to invest. And that is like what we see Skims doing. Skims is doing the same thing. Kim Kardashian is doing the same thing. They're putting out numbers out there telling people that the company's worth X dollars when it's not. So when investors hears that the company's worth these billions, they rush to invest their monies. But the reality is it is their money that is going to build up the worth of the company to that value that they're publishing. And then if you have enough money to pass around, the necessary regulatory body can then sign off to say, yes, your company is actually worth that. But Cresco Labs and Columbia Care weren't able to pull that off. So Diddy Cannabis deal fell through the roof. So when Diddy Cannabis deal fell through the roof, Diddy was like, you know what? I'm going to go back to Diageo because something is going on here with Diageo. And that is alcohol brand, because Diddy signed up with Ciroc, right? When he signed up with Ciroc really was in a bad place. The company wasn't doing good. And he signed up with them in 2007. So Diddy took Ciroc from moving like 50,000 cases of alcohol to moving over 2 million cases. I believe that is annually. So Diddy knew that he was a very vital instrument to the company's brand and the company's success. But as time passed, a lot of, vodka came on the market, and, Diddy's brand wasn't his partnership with Ciroc wasn't doing so well anymore because there were other vodkas. So Diddy thought that Diageo was lowballing him and he took them to court. No, what Diddy claimed in the lawsuit is that Diageo neglected his vodka and tequila brand due to being viewed as inferior urban products. No, that was not the case. And when he started making those claims, Bethany said, "No, Diddy, that's not the case. When you and I started back in 2007, our brand was unique. We were drinking it, we were having fun, we were trending, we were popping. But other brands have came out since then. So it's just that so many brands are out there competing for market shares. Your brand is not absorbing the market as it used to. So your brand is not doing well. So it's not as though Diageo is lowballing you or, not marketing the product. It's just that the market has changed. So Diddy took Diageo to court. But Diageo basically closed their deal. Diageo says, you know what, we don't need you because exactly as Bethany Frankel has been saying, there's really no need for Diddy's brand anymore because the other brands out there, they're more affordable. People just want to drink, feel good. No one cares about Diddy and his brand anymore. So Diddy lost out on his brand, but he's taking Diageo to court. And, I haven't seen where that court case has ended anywhere. But you guys might be asking, what's the point here? So in case you missed the point is, last year, Diddy thought that Ye was crazy. Diddy and Kim thought that, Ye was making up stuff about a particular group or community in Hollywood. But Diddy has slowly realized how the black man will always be pushed on the back burner. Diddy has also realized how companies will scam you into believing that they have money when they don't. And it's your money that they are relying on to actually build up their company and build up their brand. So when Diddy cannabis deal fell through the roof, Diddy realized that, Cresco Labs and Columbia Care, they weren't worth $2 billion or anything over that because today, Cresco alone is worth on the 700 million. So he realized that this man wasn't telling a lie, and he's slowly feeling the pinch of what Hollywood is. But initially, he was there making it seem as though Ye was overreacting. He was acting out of character. But now Diddy knows what it feels like to be Ye. But initially, he was there rubbing salt in that man's wounds and dressing like the Joker, teasing Ye, mocking Ye. You smell like Kim Kardashian. Come here, let me smell you. Do you smell like Kim Kardashian? So he was mocking and teasing and rubbing salt in his wounds. And he basically backstabbed that man because he was on the internet posting to make it seem as though Ye was mad, Ye was crazy, what Ye was saying was not factual, what Ye was saying was not making any sense. But Diddy later realized what it was like to be Ye because he was ready, but he should be grateful that the deal fell through the roof without him losing his money because Cresco Labs and Columbia Care was like, yeah, we can do this deal and we're going to set up 9 cannabis stores throughout the United States. And if you invest $185 million, you're going to see such huge yields on your investment in no time. So he was ready, he was fired up. But the reality is the companies weren't worth what they say they were, and they weren't able to get the necessary regulatory bodies to sign off on what they are worth because no one had that amount of stocks, investments, or anything. And the necessary regulatory bodies were not willing to sign off and say, yes, they are aware that they could have signed off, but no one was willing to do Diddy a favor because Diddy is now taking Diageo to court and accusing Diageo of neglecting his tequila brand when that's not the case. So what they did is to show Diddy that we have the power to make anything possible in Hollywood, including allowing your cannabis deal to fall through the roof. The company is not worth anything that you were told it's worth. We could have signed the papers to make it seem that it's worth that and your investment to go through, and the stores would have been set up, right? But we have the power for the necessary regulatory body not to sign off on this. Do you guys think that scheme is worth that $4 billion? It's not. But Kim had the money to pass around to get the right people to sign off on it. So they stabbed Ye in the back, but they're finding out that Hollywood, Diddy above all, is finding out that Hollywood is not what he thought it is. It is everything that Ye told him it is. It is everything that Ye was acting out when he thought that Ye was crazy. So now Diddy knows what it's like to be Ye in Hollywood. Let me tell you, it is very impressive how the wheels have turned, and I cannot wait to see what happens with this lawsuit as it relates to Diddy suing Diageo for something that really isn't their fault. It's just that the brand isn't giving what it used to give, and people are no longer interested in Diddy's alcohol brand. He really saved Ciroc, but I mean, that time has passed and he has, gained what he has gained and he needs to move on. And that's just that. But guys, I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts? Because this is really interesting. It was a lot of research, a lot of information, and there's a lot more as well. But let me know what are your thoughts and see you all next time. Bye, guys.